On Larry King Now, the unstoppable Kelly Osbourne.
When you're someone's kid in this industry and you don't look like a supermodel, you have to work twice as hard to prove to them not only that you're worth being there, but that you have the talent and the chops to do it. It took a really long time for me to realize how selfish and self-centered I was and realize that I don't know everything. In fact, I know more now than I've ever known, and now I realize that I know nothing.
What do you think the image of the Osbournes is?
I think that people love us because we're not perfect, and we admit when we've done something wrong, and that no matter what happens to us in our family, we get through it with love because we love each other so much.
Plus, you write a letter to your vagina.
Oh my God! I can't, this is like my day of, like, you've no idea, you made my dreams come true. You've said fucking and vagina in one interview. This is amazing.
All next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now. Our guest is Kelly Osbourne. She's one of our favorites. The TV personality, fashion designer, actress, and singer-songwriter can now add author to her list of credits with this book. It's called, I can't believe I'm saying this, There's No Fucking Secret. Yeah. Letters from a Badass Bitch, and it's out now. I remember Lenny Bruce would say that word, and they banned him from television, and now it's every day. Why do you think fuck is now accepted? And why didn't you print it out, fuck, on the book?
Because nowhere would sell it if I had the full word printed on there. And...
Still?
Yes. But okay. I think that if you want to make a difference in a generation, you have to speak their language. And people might not like the fact that people swear a lot, but they do. And that's one of the reasons I was adamant about keeping it in. But it's also because it's a bit of a play on the fact that The Secret's one of my favorite books.
That word might be used more than any other word in America every day.
I think in the world, maybe.
Yeah, it's worldwide.
Especially in my family, then that's no secret either.
Okay, The Secret was a great book, right? And I always say the only secret is there's no secret to being a success in business, right?
Exactly.
What do you mean by there is no fucking secret?
It's a few things. Again, with The Secret, the book, I'm like, that's not a secret. If you're a good person and you think positively and you keep trying, and when you fall down, you get up and you keep working towards what you want in life, nothing can stop you. That's not a secret.
That seems simple.
But common sense isn't common.
Right.
It's also because people would come up to me all the time and be like, what's your secret? I'm like, what do you mean, what's my secret? Didn't you see how long this took? Like, I was like the worst child, and it took a really long time for me to realize how selfish and self-centered I was and realize that I don't know everything. In fact, I know more now than I've ever known, and now I realize that I know nothing. You never know what's going to happen, and this book is my opportunity to show people who I really am. So there's no secrets about me anymore, because I have no right to sit here and not like the way the public speak about me or my media perception if I'm not going to tell them who I am.
Why'd you do it as letters?
I did it as letters because it was one of the ways when I was in rehab that I could communicate with my loved ones and really get my voice heard so they would listen to me and hear what I was saying. So, and also, that way you didn't have to read from page 1 to the end. You can pick it up at any chapter or any letter and get something from it.
Now, you write a letter to your vagina.
Oh my God! I can't, this is like my day of, like, you've no idea, you made my dreams come true. You've said fucking and vagina in one interview. This is amazing. I'm so sorry, Larry.
Could be the career. Anyway,
so I did, I wrote
Why did you write a letter to it?
Because it's another body part on a female that has been personified and is now one of the leading plastic surgeries to get rejuvenated and make it look perfect. And people have this unrealistic idea that they're all going to look like a certain way because of what...
Wait a minute, I don't understand. They changed the look?
Completely. And it's another thing that women have to feel insecure about. And it's also a body part that I don't think women have enough respect for and treat the way that they're supposed to. And it is not something to use to fill your insecurities or your empty space, let's just say.
You write a letter to Joan Rivers.
Yes.
In part of it, you say, Fashion Police was the best working years of my life. I know I never told you this, but the reason for that was you, Joan. Every day I woke up excited to go to work because it meant I got to go to work and bask in your humor, wisdom, and light. Everyone loved her, didn't they? And she was so generous.
She was so generous and so important to me in so many ways. I mean, I've known her since I was 6 years old. I got to spend 25 amazing years of friendship with her, and she taught me more than outside of my family than anyone. And
what?
One of the things, number one thing she taught me is that you have to find the humor in everything, because no matter what, there's always going to be a bad day, there's always going to be something, there's always going to be an obstacle, and life is kind of shit for everyone at some point, and you've got to find the humor in it. Otherwise, you'll never make it. And she found the humor in everything, absolutely everything, and made everything so much fun.
What was the hardest letter to write?
The one about my mum's cancer and my dad's accident. Dear mum's cancer and dad's accident, it was the hardest one for me to write. Even on the audiobook, I'm crying. But I'm at a point now where for the first time in my life, all these years later, I can finally talk about it with people and not cry. So it was a really therapeutic journey doing this as well.
So this was cathartic?
It was cathartic, but it also sent me insane. Now I know why they say writers are crazy. Not that I'm calling myself, like, I'm nowhere near my saying, like, I'm the next Edgar Allan Poe by any means. I mean, the book's called There Is No Fucking Secret, for God's sake, but it's very much me. There's no other way to describe it, and it is incredibly honest, and it made me feel so vulnerable, because it did, like, a few times I'm like, oh, I shouldn't say this, I shouldn't do that, but no, like, this is my chance to tell people who I am.
Who's Jack?
My brother.
How's he doing?
He's doing so good, and his kids are incredible. They're visiting their family in New Orleans with my dad right now, and they're shooting the second season of their History Channel show and having so much fun. He's such a good dad, and his kids are just...
What do you think the image of the Osbournes is?
I think that people love us because we're not perfect, and we admit when we've done something wrong, and that no matter what happens to us in our family, we get through it with love because we love each other so much.
Our guest is the one and only Kelly Osbourne. We're discussing fame and honesty after the break. This is the book. This is the cover. We'll be right back. We're talking with Kelly Osbourne, her new book, There Is No Secret. Letters from a Badass Bitch. Are you a badass bitch?
The reason I say
Come
that,
on.
no, the reason I say this is because I've been called a bitch so many times for standing up for what I believe in, for staying true to my morals, for just being myself with no bad intention, no ill will towards anybody. And that's the first thing that people say, oh, she's a bitch. And if me doing those things and being me makes me a bitch, then yeah, I'm the biggest bitch in the world. And I want to change your perception of what you think the word bitch means. Because there are three things that men will say to you. They will call you crazy, they will call you a bitch, and they will call you the C word when they really want to hurt you. So it's about owning that and taking it back and turning it on its head.
So that people relate to you, though, don't they?
I hope so.
I think they do. They appreciate your honesty.
Some people do, some people don't, because what I've learned is that the truth hurts, no matter...
But I understand now you steer clear of talking politics.
I do.
Why? Why do you steer clear of nothing?
Because we're at a time right now where the world is incredibly scared. And when I know what I'm talking about, and when I know what's going on, I can have an opinion. But I don't think until everybody is fully informed as to what's going on, we can even form an opinion that is educational enough or well-spoken enough to where people won't just attack you, because you can't make anyone happy right now.
So you censor yourself? That's not you.
It's not censoring. I won't open my mouth if I don't know what I'm talking about.
So you don't know enough about politics to discuss it?
I don't know enough about why the world is where it is right now for me to make a comment.
So you might say something that'll be misconstrued.
Exactly.
You write in your book that there were some tough parts of growing up as a celebrity's kid.
Yeah.
Like what, example?
People have this disillusion that everything in my life came to me so easily because my parents were famous. And it's not that way. When you're someone's kid in this industry and you don't look like a supermodel, you have to work twice as hard to prove to them not only that you're worth being there, but that you have the talent and the chops to do it. So they really put you to the test. I mean, doors may be open for you, but you have to walk through them yourself, and you have to prove that you're worth being there. On you. It is tougher, but I'm glad it was, because it's made me stronger.
I understand I'm in one of your letters.
Yes, you are.
The letter to whom, about what?
Okay, so it's Dear Rehab. And
you write a letter to your rehab.
The experience of rehab. And my first experience in rehab, I was taken to Promises in Malibu. And my parents didn't take me. MTV hid me in one of their crew vans and took me, and I passed out in the waiting room before I was even checked in. And I kind of came to, because I can't say woke up, to hearing your voice and my parents' voice. And I sat there and I was like, how could they do this to me?
They just, on my show?
Yeah, on your show.
It was on television.
It was live on television. Before I'd even checked in, they were telling everybody that I was in rehab, and I was so full of selfishness and self-loathing and immaturity that I didn't realize that what my parents were actually doing was going on the show to protect me, to beat the media to the punch, to make sure there's no skeletons in my closet that people dig up, letting people know that I'm getting help, and to give me a bit of a break.
So, in retrospect, you now appreciate it?
Oh, I so appreciate it.
But you didn't then?
Oh, no, I was a little brat. So, no, I did not. I didn't get it. And...
Were you mad at me, too?
No.
You should have been. I brought it out. No, you could have been, Kelly. I wouldn't have been.
I swear I wasn't. No, I was
okay.
like, no. I think that if it would have been anyone else, maybe. But I've always loved you so much. That it was never. It was more like, how could my parents do that? They're just doing this to save face.
You
and
ever wish your parents had done something different, though?
No.
No.
I don't.
Coming up, Kelly on her strangest fan encounter and the weirdest job she's ever had, and we'll talk Project Runway Jr. We'll be right back. Kelly Osbourne. The book is out. And why does she have solidarity and stories written on her head? This is not your everyday girl. We'll be right back. We're back with the extremely honest Kelly Osbourne. This is her book. There's no fucking secret.
I'll never not love hearing you say that.
From a badass bitch here. This will go down in history. Okay. Kelly, what you've done to me. You've worn a lot of hats: musician, fashion designer, actress. How do you define what you do? What's your occupation?
I don't know. I ask myself this all the time. I'm me, and I have to fight so hard to be me. I can do so many different things. I don't know what road I want to go down yet specifically and focus all of my attention on, but I love fashion, I love music. But I am just grateful for every opportunity that has come my way, because I learned something new from it now.
Want to get married?
I don't know if I believe in marriage anymore. I think since the days of social media, that's changed everything, because you can look back so far into everybody's past and you know things about them before they've even told you. So and it's
Google them.
It just creates, there's no mystery, there's no excitement.
You've been a judge on Project Runway Jr. Are these kids good?
It put my heart in the right place back in fashion, because there's no like, oh, you have to be this skinny or you have to look like this. It's young people who genuinely want to learn a craft and become something from the ages of 13 to 17, who have the most unbelievable technique and understanding of
boys and girls.
Boys and girls.
Are you tough on them?
That's Christian Siriano's job. He's more of he's tougher on them because he was in their shoes already. So he tries to give them advice to help them move on. I give them more constructive criticism and give them advice on how they could change like a hemline or what they could do to weigh the fabric down and things.
But they have talent.
They're unbelievably talented, and it's so rare to meet somebody of their age demographic that don't just want to be famous, they want to be something.
We play a little game of If You Only Knew, okay? I'll just throw some questions at you.
Okay.
Childhood celebrity crush?
I think it was, my first one was probably like Hanson, something like that.
Who?
Hanson, the boy band. When I was like 13.
Okay.
They sang the song Bop, do you remember?
Who's your current celebrity crush?
Oh, I don't know. That's hard to say. I I don't really have one.
I'm guessing Christian Bale.
No.
No? Okay.
If I had to pick, if I was going to go for an English person, I would say Tom Hardy, but as the character of Charles Bronson. I know that sounds really weird.
Strangest fan encounter.
I had a really strange fan encounter on this book tour. A man put his finger in my mouth and told me I was a sexy beast, and I did not know what to do. I was like, get your hand out my mouth.
Finger in your mouth?
Yes, he did.
Did they take him away somewhere?
No, I did. I pushed him away.
Guilty pleasure?
Cartoons.
Person you trade places with for a day?
I wouldn't want to trade places with anybody because life is hard enough.
Characteristic you cherish most in people?
Honesty.
Secret talent?
I'm double-jointed everywhere. Look.
I hate that. Biggest risk you've ever taken?
Waking up and deciding to just be me, and that's okay.
Who's your favorite badass bitch?
My mama.
Something we should all be paying more attention to?
Other people. People have stopped caring about people.
What's the weirdest job you've ever had?
I think probably answering fan mail for a band that I worked in. It was one of my first jobs. And because I'm so dyslexic, I spelled everything wrong and they got complaints. I think I got fired. But I wanted to get, you know, a cell phone, and my mom said that if I wanted one, I had to get a job, so I did.
What never fails to make you laugh?
I think a fart is always funny.
A fart? Why are farts funny?
Because people get embarrassed, but everyone does it. So it's one of those things that's just, they will always be funny.
It's part of human...
It always makes me giggle, though.
What annoys you?
Okay, I have misophonia, so any like repetitive tapping or clicky sounds, but
What is it called?
Misophonia.
Misophonia?
Yeah.
Never heard that.
I struggle from it very badly, but what annoys me that's not something like that is the fact that this world is chasing an unrealistic idea of perfection that doesn't exist, and people don't realize that this ideal that we're being sold our whole life to chase this idea of perfection doesn't exist. It's a straight up lie, and you'll never be perfect. And people ruin their lives seeking perfection when they should just seek to be the best them they can be.
Something you long believed to be true but realize isn't.
But I was right about everything.
Tell me something people don't...
And my mom was right about everything.
Tell me something people don't know about you.
I'm a lot more shy than people think I am.
Oh, come on.
Especially around boys.
Why does it say stories
And solidarity.
and solidarity?
Okay, stories is because I'm dyslexic and I think with the left side of my brain. And in order for me to remember things and try not to get in trouble, I have to create a little story in my head so that I remember things the way that somebody without dyslexia or ADHD can. And the solidarity is because it's one of my biggest hopes for this world is that we can live in solidarity and what I truly believe in.
You're a hell of a girl. Kelly is answering your social media questions in our final segment. The book is There's No Fucking Secret.
That will never not be funny. I cannot wait to tell my mom about this.
We're back with Kelly Osbourne. You already know the title of the book. Here's its cover. Daniel Christopher Thomas asks, what professional advice did Joan Rivers give you that stuck with you?
Always be the first person to arrive and the last person to leave. And always figure out a way to make it fun. Because if you're not making someone laugh, you're simply crying alone.
She was so giving.
It's one of the most generous women I've ever met in my life. Ever met in my life.
Cody Joe Brown, do you feel like your dad's fame put a lot of pressure on you to become famous yourself? Obviously, it's hard to escape it. But do you have a love-hate relationship with his fame since you get to see him who he really is?
Of course, I don't know it any other way. People look at it like, oh, I decided to become famous. When they'll look at like a royal family and say, oh, that's the prince and the princess and that's the king and the queen. Whereas I had no choice. I was born and people knew who I was. I never knew it any other way.
My son Chance was asked, well, you know, what's it like to be Larry King's son? He said, I don't know what it's like to be any other son.
I'm like, I don't know any other way other than my family. But I feel very lucky that I have the relationship I have with my mother and my father, because we are all so close. And my dad and I have a very close, like, I'm a daddy's girl, so we have a very close relationship. And he's very, like, he's so loving and so funny, and I get to see a side of him, and that's what makes me lucky that that's mine, because that's my dad.
Jorge Flores, what's on your playlist these days?
What have I been listening to? I listen to a lot of oldies music, like Shangri-La's. My favorite album of all time is Abbey Road by the Beatles. I think that is the perfect example of a record. And I don't really listen to a lot of new music.
Ricardo Cruz Roman, do you believe in aliens?
Yes, I do. If we think that we're the only living species and with a planet with the only living species in this entire solar system, then we're ignorant.
Now, you released 3 albums, 2002, 2003, 2005. Alex Langerland asks, will you ever record more music?
I am, actually. Linda Perry and I spoke recently, and there was a song that we did together and wrote together. It's got to be over 10 years ago, but I didn't have the vocal ability to sing it. And then we were playing on the piano at my mom's house recently and realized that all of a sudden I did. So we're going to go in and record it and just see how it goes. And because my song that I did for my character on Disney just won an Emmy, it kind of has given me the confidence to go back into it again.
Mish Roldan, would you ever do another reality show?
We get asked this all the time, and right now I don't think we've ever had more requests to do another show. But I would like to do to see how we are now, rather than doing and committing to a full season of a show, to see how we like it, because we don't live together anymore. We all have our own different lives and different things going on. So I don't know, but I really want people to see how, you know, what a gentleman my brother's grown up to be, how amazing my mom is, and how great my dad's doing, and how much we've all grown up and changed.
At Ray Anthony Soto, what's your favorite book?
It's hard for me to say what my favorite book is, because I've read so many. My favorite book, Valley of the Dolls, I would say, because that was the first book I ever got to read and pick myself.
Sexy.
And when I read it, I just was obsessed. Then I saw the movie and I became obsessed with Sharon Tate, and just I love that book.
I knew Sharon Tate. At Megan Maniac, how influential has music made by your father been on your musical taste yourself?
Incredibly influential. I mean, I've been exposed to so many different genres, because people don't realize my dad was originally in a hippie band called Earth, where they played naked, and it was a blues band, and then they decided to become Black Sabbath. So I grew up around blues, jazz, rock, heavy metal, pop music, classical music. My mum loves French opera, so it's such an important part that, you know, that there's a song that can go with anything, and music makes people happy.
But your family has gone through trials of their own, your parents, right? Mm-hmm. You had a tough time dealing with that?
I think anybody does in their families when you're seeing someone sick and you can't help them, or they're going through a tough time. But like I've constantly said, the one lesson my mum always taught us, that love can get you through anything, and communication. And the reason I dedicated my book to my mom is because a lot of people think that my mom's main mission in life and her purpose in life was to save my father and create his career and help him with all of that. It's not. It was to be a mother, and my mom threw herself in front of a bus every single day in order for us to have a better life.
Have they read the book?
Yes, they say they have. I mean, I gave it to them and told them before I sent it to my publisher, whatever you want out, if there's something in here you don't like, take it out, no questions asked. Because I don't want to hurt anyone. And, you know, you can be in a room with 100 people and one incident can happen, and there's 100 different stories. So, and versions of what happened, because everyone sees things differently. So I wanted to make sure I wasn't saying anything that could offend them or hurt them. And
all right, what do you want people to take away from this book?
That you're not alone, and it is every single person in this world is a unique, beautiful individual. It's simply enough whether you can find it within yourself to be brave enough to show it to the world.
You're a terrific lady.
Thank you so much, Larry.
Thanks to my guest, Kelly Osbourne. There's no fucking secret is available now. As always, you can find me on Twitter at King's Things. We'll see you next time.
Yes! I love you, Larry.